Welcome to episode 140 of the 2 Minute Warning. Today I got a big debate going over who will win that awful NFC East division in the NFL. This is a shaky division. We all knew it was shaky when the first week, in week 1 of the NFL this year, the Washington football team, and Dwayne Haskins, their starter at the time, upset the Philadelphia Eagles. So right then and there, we knew this is going to be a big start to the year of what's going to happen. Same with Dak Prescott getting hurt, Washington not starting any of their quarterbacks, Carson Wentz dropping off, and the Giants just being the Giants, Daniel Jones being Danny Drops versus Danny Dimes, very inconsistent. So we knew this division was going to be tough. Right now, in first place, we got the New York Giants at 4-7. Second place, Washington football team 4-7. Giants are over Washington due to beating them in head-to-head in both games. Eagles in third place, 3-7-1. Tough loss last night. Not even a tough loss. They didn't really have a chance, in my opinion, to the Seattle Seahawks. Whatever, it was expected. Then in last place, we got the Dallas Cowboys, 3-8. Now, my bold prediction, this is probably would have been my last pick if you asked me last week, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, at the beginning of the year, whenever, to pick this team to win the division, and I don't think a lot of people would agree, but I got the New York Football Giants winning the division, going to the playoffs. Of course, getting knocked out of the playoffs first round no matter who wins the division, but my prediction is the New York Football Giants. Now, of these 4 teams, the New York Giants had the toughest schedule, in my opinion. Of these 4 teams, the Giants got Seahawks, Cardinals, Browns, Ravens, their next 4 games, and then they finish off with the Cowboys. Right now, of those 5 games, I have them winning 1, going from 4-7 to finishing the season 5-11, and their 1 win will be the Cowboys, and I think their 1 additional win that is potential is beating the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns almost lost to the Jaguars last week. That was just a fluke game, in my opinion, but it does show a tough team can beat them, and I think a bad team can beat the Browns, and I think the Giants might be able to put something together to beat them, but I'm not relying on it, so I'm still counting their only win being against the Cowboys this week, or in the last week of the NFL, finishing 5-11. Then we look at the Washington football team, at 4-7. Their next 4 games, Steelers, 49ers, Seahawks, Panthers, and then finishing off against the Eagles. Of those 5 games, I got them winning 1. They'll lose to the Steelers, of course. Niners, they can win it, but I don't think they will. We just saw the Niners beat the Los Angeles Rams. Clearly, they're getting healthier, and they're getting better. When that team's healthy, obviously, they're a Super Bowl team. They just went there last year. So I think they'll lose that game as they progress to get healthier. Then the Seahawks, not much to say, just like the Steelers, and they're not going to win that game. Panthers, Teddy Bridgewater, Christian McCaffrey, they might both be back by then. And while the Panthers aren't a good team this year, you can't see they're not better than the Washington football team. Therefore, they lose that game. Then, last game of the year, Carson Wentz and the Eagles. We don't even know who will be playing quarterback at that time. I got the Washington football team being able to edge out the Eagles. They did in week 1 with Dwayne Haskins. I like Alex Smith better than Dwayne Haskins, so I see no problem in the Washington football team beating the Eagles again. So they get one last win in week 17. Like the Giants going 5-11, but Giants will win over the Washington football team due to having the head-to-head. Then in the Eagles, their rest of their schedule is the Green Bay Packers, New Orleans Saints, Cardinals, Cowboys, Washington. Now, I think everyone will agree with this. They'll lose to the Packers, the Saints, Cardinals. Clearly, they might be able to pull off a win against the Saints if Taysom Hill drops off, Drew Brees is still out, Jameis Winston comes in, throws 3 picks. So that's not impossible to win that game, but odds are I think they'll lose it. So I think they'll lose those next 3 games. I think they will beat the Dallas Cowboys and Andy Dalton. Yes, Carson Wentz is inconsistent this year, but I do think I'd still take him on my football team over the Dallas Cowboys and Andy Dalton. Not that Andy Dalton's a terrible quarterback, but I just like Carson Wentz better. Ezekiel Elliott's probably due for a fumble, to be honest, if we're all being realistic here. And hopefully the Eagles capitalize off that. Obviously, that's just one possible play that might not even happen, but I just think the Eagles are a better team coaching-wise and have a better defense than the Cowboys, so I think I'll give them a win there. And then last week, they'll lose to the Washington football team, as I just gave Washington a win in week 17 over the Eagles. So I have the Eagles also only winning 1 of their last 5 games, putting them from 3-7-1 currently to finishing 4-11-1. Then down to Dallas Cowboys. Their rest of their schedule is the Baltimore Ravens, Cincinnati Bengals, San Francisco 49ers, Philadelphia Eagles, and then the New York Football Giants. They'll obviously lose to Lamar Jackson, assuming he is playing. Everything could change somehow if RG3 is playing. Lamar's still out due to COVID, so obviously there's some speculation there. But even then, if you got RG3 versus Andy Dalton, they're both backup QBs, say they just cancel each other out, you're going to take the Ravens roster over the Cowboys roster and the Ravens coaching staff over the Cowboys coaching staff, so I'm going to take the Ravens in that no matter what, Lamar in or out. Then you got the Bengals. I would give the Bengals a win here if they had Joe Burrow, but they don't, so I'm going to roll with the Cowboys, getting an additional win right here, their only win of their last 5 games. Then they got the Niners. Like I said, they're getting healthier. If the Niners could beat Washington, they could definitely beat the Cowboys, so I think the Niners will take that win there, giving the Cowboys another loss. Eagles, just said I think the Eagles will win this matchup. Not much to say, just explained it. In the last game, they play the Giants week 17 of the NFL, and I think the New York Football Giants, Daniel Jones will be healthy by then. He's out right now due to hamstring injury, I believe, hamstring strain. But come week 17, he'll be fine. I think that's where the Giants close it out. So really, of these 4 teams, I got each of them only getting one more win for the rest of the season, which seems pretty, I don't want to say shitty, but it's expected because this entire team this year, they've only gotten wins pretty much between each other, and that's how it's going to finish. And I think we'll get a New York Football Giants team heading to the playoffs at 5-11. The record for the worst playoff team, I believe, is 7-9. So even if I'm a game off in this prediction, I think we'll see a 6-10 team make the playoffs, and that'll set the record also. But at my current prediction, I got the New York Football Giants finishing at 5-11 and making the playoffs, setting history, breaking a record. I think Daniel Jones is going to carry him there, even with a tough schedule. 2-minute warning.